Welcome to All for Hunters, I'm Chris Parkin and this is the latest CZ457 stainless synthetic in 22LR. Well, you've seen the rifle in use, it's certainly great fun to shoot. I love the compromise between the lighter barrel and the lighter stock, and it's so much more portable and excellent for both shooting, for plinking fun and target fun, but as well as hunting as a primary role. The Cold Hammer Forged barrel is 525mm long, which is 20 inches, and it's threaded 1/2 inch by 20 at the muzzle for a moderator or break, and you can see a moderator in use here. It's 14mm in diameter and it's stainless steel, and it's got a lovely satin finish on it so it doesn't reflect the light. I love the fact there's such contrast on this gun between the camouflage stock, the black accessories, the black action, the black moderator, bipod, etc., and the stainless barrel. Talking about the bipod, there are 2 sling studs on the bottom of the stock, so you can add a bipod or your sling for carriage, and that forend is stiff. It's got lots of segments in it to make sure it's not going to touch the barrel, and you can really use the rifle and use it on the stock without any fear of intermittent barrel contact affecting your harmonics. Looking towards the back of the gun, we've got an 11mm dovetail for scope mounting. It's a 60-degree bolt lift and a 55mm bolt handle with a 19mm ball on the end. The left side shows the bolt release catch, and if I just take the bolt out I can show you in a little bit more detail, because one of the things I love about the CZ bolt is if I just decock this, you can actually see there's a chisel tip to the striker, which means you always get a really good ignition on the case, but there's a flat top as well which comes up against the back of the barrel, so it means you're never going to overexert full pressure on the striker if you do dry fire the rifle, and it just means that it's going to last pretty much forever. You can just recock that, put it back in the gun. Just while I say it, there are 2 extractor claws there as well to make sure you get full extraction, and there's a manual ejector which is exposed in the groove at the bottom of the bolt there, so the case is flicked out depending on how hard you pull the bolt back, which means it's going to be really good if you want to have those subtle target shots, or if you're in fast fire action, maybe hunting rabbits or something like that. You're going to make sure you never have a jammed case. Feeding below is from a 5-round polymer magazine. This stacks simply, and it's compatible with both steel magazines and the extended 10-round magazines that CZ supply. That clips in the bottom of the stock. There's a release catch there, and it's easy to access because it's tapered on the end and you can get hold of it super easy to make sure you're taking it in and out of the gun without any problems at all. There's a 2-position safety catch on the side of the rifle, forward for fire, rear for safe. It doesn't lock the bolt in safe position. Looking at the stock, you've got 356mm, which is 14-inch length of pull. It's a soft touch finish synthetic, but it's stiff and it doesn't make too much noise when you're moving around with it, and it's very comfortable in use with pretty good cheek piece alignment to the actual scope itself. That's been done because it's been kept high. It's only just below the level of the bolt, and it's also nice and slim, which means it goes onto your cheekbone here rather than displacing your jaw to the side. There's a recoil pad at the back. It's a firm rubber texture. There's obviously no recoil really to absorb. It just matters about the way it grips into your shoulder for fast, intuitive mounting and secure shooting. You can of course add a sling to the back here, and when you've got your hand gripped under it like that, it's a super stable rifle for shooting in a prone position or seated. If you put it in tripod sticks, you can grip onto the stock here without disrupting the magazine access, and it also won't affect zero by bending the stock and touching the barrel. trigger pull on this single stage unit is adjustable from 11 to 14 newtons, and just to translate that, I measured this when it was brand new, came to me, and it was 1126 grams with very little creep. One of the great things about the CZ rifle, and you can probably see this when I've got it dismantled, is the fact that you can adjust the trigger sear engagement as well as the weight. So throughout the whole life of the rifle, you can ensure it is absolutely in prime condition for usage. And that crisp trigger pull with the fast lock time on the firing pin makes sure you are totally in control of your shots. There's an 11mm dovetail for scope mounting, and there's plenty of length in the action to make sure you can get correct eye relief. But now I'm going to show you the secret to the CZ457. Let me just take the bolt out, take the magazine out, and I'm going to remove just 2 action screws in the bottom here. These both work with a T25 Torx key, and if I just take those out like that, we can show you the secret of the 457 action. So, looking here to start with, you can see there's a steel recoil lug at the back to make sure the stock is bearing on the rifle correctly. The 2 screws just drop out when we're doing this. Put that to one side. Now here is the secret to the action. These 2 screws on the front here and here are 4mm Allen keys, and if you remove those, the barrel will slot out. You can have interchangeable barrel mini sets in either 22LR, 17HMR or 22WMR, and they also come with corresponding spaces to go within the action, which also acts as the feed ramp. And this mag well is large enough, so if you're using a 2.2 magazine, it looks like this with the spacer in the back. If you take that spacer out of the back for the larger calibers, then it uses and fits the larger magazine perfectly. Swapping barrels does require taking the gun out of the stock, but it's a quick job to re-zero, and actually it doesn't drift far from your known settings on them if you've used them before. And just to put it back together, it goes back in the stock, making sure the steel recoil lug's in there. Pop it back in the stock, that clicks securely in position, turn it over, and then we've got the long action screw at the rear, the short action screw at the front. These just tighten back down. You can use a torque wrench, which will give you a little bit more accurate refit, but I've not found it too critical in use, and I'm very happy with the rifle. I've shot a lot of CZ457 rifles and find them one of the most versatile, comfortable, accessible rifles to use and shoot with great accuracy and consistency. Some of the models I've liked more than others. This one is one of my personal favourites, I have to say, because I love the handling dynamics of it. It is only available in the longer barrel, and I maybe would like to see the 16-inch shorter barrel, but it's not heavy, so you don't really mind or notice it. And the rifle is so handleable, so easy to point, it's very intuitive to use. You get great bolt manipulation, good ejection, and it's smooth feeding without any damage to bullet plats. When you actually look at the rifle after you've used it for several hundred rounds, poorly feeding 2.2 rimfires tend to shave lead and waxy lubricants from the bullets, and they all get gummed up on the back of the barrel. That's not the case with this 457, which is a great factor for it. Overall length is 977mm, which is 38.5 inches, and overall weight is 2.5 kilos, which is 5.5 pounds. So again, it's a lightweight, compact rifle, but it doesn't compromise handling ergonomics for an adult because you've got good grip on here. It's a soft touch stock, and there are these segments impressed into that, so you make sure you've got really good hold without having to grip the gun tight. And it's also equally usable ambidextrous left-handed. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching that review. Please like, subscribe, comment and click the notification bell to keep track of All for Hunters' regular uploads. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.